Hare Krishna. So I think I have to go to this one. I haven't completed this. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Kam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadam Bande Shri Gurum Dintaranam Pramanand Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanto Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyamadi Pashat Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 नाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय इसमें फाउंडर आचार्य हरि जय भांगे जय प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरु गौरांगा की जय संबल भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौरा प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा. So I just put a slide because I need to have a structure how and what we are going to talk in this uh, classes that's coming up. So first we'll see few definitions. If I put in an order, then I would be able to pull the subject. So it's very important that also you know that what are the things that we are going to talk and what are the orders for that. So first we'll talk about definitions, and definitions would include what is as it is, or what are the foundational definition of pure devotion that is given by our acharyas. So that's what we'll talk under definitions, multiple terms you'll see. Then we'll go through few concepts and themes. Like one of the concept is that we see the yoga ladder, and on the yoga ladder you start with karma kanda, then go with karma yoga, and then after that sakam karma yoga, niskam karma yoga, then gyan yoga, stang yoga, and bhakti. And the way the ladder is presented, when devotees see that, they think that in order for you to be bhakta yogi, they are the prerequisite. You have to have the proficiency in Astang yoga or Gyan yoga, or if you are proficient in Astang yoga, the next step is that you can lead to the bhakti yoga. You can start doing the bhakti, like many of us are doing bhakti yoga, right? Did we really do Gyan yoga? Are we perfected in Gyan yoga or Ashtanga yoga? Or the bhakti that are we doing? Is it not the real bhakti that should be done, right? So in the many places of Srimad Bhagavatam, bhakti is defined as yadrikshaya. Yadrikshaya, the term that is being used is yadrikshaya, which means in its own accord. Bhakti really does not depend on all of this prerequisite. So one should not think that if we have come to this stage, then we have perfected Ashtanga yoga or Gyan yoga or other types of steps that we have on the ladder. But then, are we doing pure bhakti or not? What is the definition of a mixed devotion versus pure devotion? What are the tools for self-calibration? How you know that I'm on the right path? So some of those things we'll talk about. We'll talk in that section. Then papers and articles. There are multiple, papers or small booklets that are written by devotees. Okay, and some of those who are in fact banned also. You might not know. Depends how much you are researching and trying to know those things. Like unspoken obstacle on the path of bhakti, that was sometime banned because the Swami who wrote it, he was very bold, saying things that how we should do things that are aligned with the mood and mission of our acharyas. So we'll pull out some of those, how to prevent ISKCON becoming a religious organization. Okay, you can see that in our society today, people are coming for car puja and so much ritualistic activity. As a devotee, sometimes also we find those things important. And what's the problem? Like that, we say, what's the problem? Or in our dealing also, sometimes somebody is dry follower of Brahmada Gauriya Sampradaya, then we use some terms, like, this person is so fanatic. This person is this not social. So many other things. What is the goal of our life? And how we have to learn those things, okay? Because complexity that we have around is huge. So many waves are floating around. But across all of that, how you retain Shuddha Bhakti. And there are multiple articles. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote multiple small articles. And one of the perspective is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur at that time published the article, and he told that British government is good for India, for Vedic culture. So he was at the time when transitioning was happening from Mughal to British. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote an article. He was district magistrate, a very powerful person. So he wrote an article saying that this transition is good for Vedic teaching. Everybody was, how it's good, how it's good. I mean, we are still not independent. We are transitioning from one emperor to other emperor, how it is good. And then he gave a very beautiful argument saying that when Mughal were ruling India, they had a spiritual devotional goals. They were changing people, asking them to become Islam, and all sorts of things they were doing, breaking the temples, old, powerful, famous Indian temples. But when British government came, none of those were their interest. They came for business. They wanted to make money out of India, and they focused more on commercial goods. They didn't worry about, you are becoming Christian or not Christian, what is you're following, what you're not following. They left everything as it is, wherever they are, and focused more on business. So when he said the perspective, then it did not make sense to everybody. So we'll look at some of those articles and we'll see that certain situations that we have in our life appears very distracting, very disturbing in a material way. Oh, I'm going through this suffering. I have to deal with all of these emotions, all of these personalities and people. But if we go in the bottom of everything and if our perspectives are right, then we'll understand it correct. Jiva Goswami is one of our learned scholars in our Sampradaya. And the way they acted, they lived very much in Vrindavan, renounced life, but they had influence over all the big, kings at that time. All those kings will come and get the guidance from them. So how this whole thing happens, right? How those things are happening. So we'll look into some of those things. And then there are multiple concepts. Uh, Raghunath Das Goswami. So I'll be little, this is going to be little technical and heavier on multiple things. So please prepare your mind to hear all of the discussion. So in Manasiksha, in one of the verse, Raghunath Das Goswami says that verse number 8, he says that we should worship Radha and Krishna only. And then he says that people who have material desire, they are associating with prostitute. And people who have desire for name, fame, glories, they are associating with prostitute because these are prostitute. The name, fame, glories, power is nothing but the prostitute. So this is coming from Raghunath Goswami, who is Goswami of Pariyojana, Sambandha Vidya and Pariyojana. Saying that this is associating with prostitute. So name, fame, glories, this and that. If we are giving value to those things, I can do this service only when you make me this. When we see that, I can see what another Goswami has said. So conducting our life based upon those teachings and understanding those teaching, will take multiple examples from Bhakti Samrita Sindhu also. You know, Rupa Goswami has very clearly said what is bhakti and what is not bhakti. There, most of you know nectar of devotion. Nectar of devotion is summary of Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. So we'll look into Bhakti Samrita Sindhu and then see what is bhakti, what is not bhakti. Jaya Dharma by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Oh my God. The entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness. You want to learn, read Jaya Dharma from page 1 to cover. You understand? So it's written in the format of a novel. Two personalities are talking. Or the philosophy, awesome, awesome. I love Jaya Dharma. I have digital version. Wherever I am, flying, going somewhere, reading Jaya. It's like, oof, so sweet. And then Manasiksha, Madhurya Kadamini by Vishwanath Thakur. We look at some of those books, some core, concept. We cannot read the entire books. Some of the themes that we have from those books will bring it up. And then also we'll talk about the biography of few acharyas, especially six Goswamis, who they were and how they did pure devotion. So once you go through all of these content, then you would have some idea that what are expected from us as a follower of Brahma, the Gaura Sampradaya. And then finally, the post talk, as we call it, we'll look at some of the songs and see how Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Vasudeva Ghosh or Natandas Thakur are clearly telling and very concisely teaching us how a devotee should cultivate their Krishna consciousness. So this will be our content, at least for now. And we'll start with definition first. So last class, I was talking about this slide. And this might appear to you very ordinary, but this is very powerful slide. This has almost a lot of information put together. So anybody remember what did we talk last time on this slide? This is just the mapping of our consciousness. Anybody remember anything last time that we talked? Did we complete? I don't think so, right? At least you can confirm that. Did we
No
complete?
problem. No problem. We haven't started this, I think.
Yeah, we didn't complete this. We just started and we didn't talk about it. So let me talk. So in reality, uh, sometimes you would see that the consciousness has 3 steps, or sometimes you will hear that it has 5 steps. There are 5 steps of consciousness. So let's stick with the 5 for now. So very lowest consciousness that we see is anavarita consciousness. And Prabhupada said in multiple classes that all of these plants and trees and herbs that we see around, they're all living entity. So that one type of consciousness. But their consciousness is called anavarita. It's completely covered, covered consciousness. They don't have freedom to express their emotion. They don't express their emotion, but you would see that they interact with the sunlight, day of the time, and certain flower will come up. Some of them will fade away like that. You would see that they have some interaction with the environment or surrounding. But that consciousness is very, very subtle consciousness. So there is one category of consciousness that is called anavrita consciousness. You need to remember that. Then higher than that is Sankuchita consciousness, where there is some degree of freedom, but it's not fully developed. In English, we call it contracted, restricted, contracted. So contracted consciousness is the consciousness of animal being. And perfect example is that all the animals, they are very cautious and careful about saving their life. If tiger is chasing deer, deer would do everything to save. They have interaction and love for affection for their calves. And you would see that if calves dies, then cows, buffalo will cry, right? Pets are perfect example. Everybody has pet and they say, oh, perfect. They interact, they have some emotional communication. So it's not very advanced, but there is some degree of interaction with that consciousness. And then the third one is Mukulita consciousness, which is called Biksit consciousness, developed consciousness. So human as such, human as a whole, human being as a whole is considered Biksit consciousness. So you can have basically the entire human being under that bucket. But then also under Biksit consciousness, there are group of people who are slightly more advanced and they are Earth Biksit. They are developed, but they are not fully developed. Their consciousness is not fully developed. And then all the way you would see the people who are completely developed. We call it advanced devotee, Purna Bhiksita. So this term advanced, normally you would see that, oh, he's very advanced devotee. Right? So who that personality is, Prabhupada has written in his purport also. So we'll talk about that also. So human being as such is developed consciousness because they have higher degree of freedom. They have thinking, they have feeling, they have willing, right? You would say that thinking, they're planning. I want this, I don't want that, all of that is there. Their emotions are advanced. They can interact based on their consciousness. So among developed group of people, there are some who are on a very lower stage. And from here, in one sense, you can say that yoga ladder begins. Okay. The bottom line that you see, in one sense, it's basically defined version of a detailed version of yoga ladder. You can say that. So there are a group of people who are Bishaya Ashaktaha. They have too much Ashakti, attachment with the Bishaya. Bishaya means objects of objects for sense gratification. A lot of Ashakti with the Bishaya. And they don't go beyond that. Sense gratification, they can do everything, anything that they can do. So that is very, very lowest type of consciousness. Human beings are made of five gross and three subtle consciousness. So when we are on the very gross stage, sense gratification is predominant. Things which are of sensual pleasure appears to be more important. But there is no concept of mind, intelligence, or soul. No understanding that living entities are soul, we are soul. Soul, coming to the point. So normally we say that we're not this body, we are the soul. It's not very simple understanding. It's not very uh, low consciousness. It's not like that we begin our consciousness from there. it is some degree of advancement. You know, person who has come to the stage that I'm not this body, I am a soul. That person has the understanding of soul is superior than mind, soul is superior than intelligence, soul is superior than false ego. So this is advancement. This is advancement. You have to understand. So if we are not there, then nothing to be surprised also. Okay, because we have not made that degree of advancement. We still see Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that prithak prithak, there is concept of separatism. You know, what is that separatism? Oh, you are you, am I, she is she, he is he, and all different types of designations. So these are the stage where we are still not identifying ourselves with the soul. But once we come to the stage of soul, then Krishna says that living entity would come to the stage of unification, when they would see that Sunichaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samadarshana. This is Pandita stage. It's not something that in the very beginning we do. Being able to cross over the bodily identity and seeing people as soul, and the soul that has presence of Paramatma is the advanced stage. It's Pandita, Krishna says, Pandita Samadarshana. The one who is not seeing the difference between dog and dog eater, that's advanced stage. So don't no need to be upset or you know concerned about it, but you have to understand that we are trying to proceed ourselves to the higher stage. And then you would see that people who are putting their faith in demigod, putting faith in something higher. Now you are going beyond oneself. Oh, I have done all of this thing, and I know that I'm getting old. I have no control. This environment is working on me over the time. I'm getting old, my body is getting disease, those type of things. Sometimes we call also that as Sankhya Yoga, analytical study. By analytical study, they analyze the things around them, and then they come to the higher stage, and that is stage where they start seeing something higher. Okay, so the very first step on that consciousness is that the higher is like demigod. Okay, and that is within the purview of Sakam Karma Yoga. So up to that stage, it's called Ardh Viksita. They are not seeing the Supreme Lord yet. But once we start seeing the Supreme Lord, either in his Brahman form or in his Paramatma form or in Bhagwan form, then Prabhupada said all of these three are transcendentalists because they have higher chance to come to the stage of Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is subtle most realization. And that's the main thing I wanted to bring out from this slide. That one should not think that now I have come to the stage where I have realized the Bhagwan stage. Or if you see some deficiency in ourselves, accepting Krishna as a Bhagwan, as a person, then you should not be discouraged because it's a very subtle, it's not very simple understanding. But all Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, they are understanding of the same absolute truth in different degree. So understanding Krishna as Brahman, but at least something is truth, absolute truth. But that truth is Brahman. Okay. Prabhupada said that they're transcendentalist, at least they are reaching to absolute truth, but they're thinking that that truth is Brahman. And then higher than that is thinking that that absolute truth is Paramatma. And I don't know how much experience you have with all religious practices that is out there. Don't want to tell you the name, but you would see people do have faith in Brahman. They worship Brahman. You and I are Brahman. You are Lord, I am Lord. And one day, once this ignorance is dispelled, then we become Lord, I become Lord, or we merge into the Lord, we become the Lord. Sayuja Mukti, that we call it. Higher than that is Paramatma, and they worship the super soul. Super soul is ultimate reality. And I know there are few religious practices that say everything is Paramatma. They don't use the word Bhagwan. They use the word Paramatma. Everything, they talk Paramatma, Paramatma, Paramatma. But highest most is Bhagwan. So Paramatma is Sat feature of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahman is Sat feature of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paramatma is Sat and Chit, and Bhagwan is Sat Chit Anand. Samvit, Sandhini, and Havadini. Three Sakti. Samvit, Sandhini, Samvit, and Haladini. So internal potency has these three Shakti, and those three Shaktis are fully manifested when one comes to the stage of Bhagwan realization. And in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is giving a very technical understanding that up to Bhava stage, you are trying to understand Krishna's Shandhani Shakti. And then when you come to the perfection of Bhava, then Krishna's Samvit Shakti, Gyan potency, is revealed. And when we come to the stage of Prem Bhakti, pure devotion, then Krishna's Samvit, Shandhini, and Haladini, all three are revealed. So pure devotion also, according to Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, is not that somebody who is getting up in the morning and doing certain things, we start calling as pure devotee. Yeah, he's on the path of pure devotion. But pure devotee means the one who has understanding of Krishna's Shandhini Shakti. Shandhini is this universal creation. Bhagavatam talks about it. Who we are, who the living entities are, what are our interactions. This is Shandhini. Everything that has a form coming from Lord Himself. That's Lord Balram, Shandhini Shakti. And Samvit is the Gyan, hence Yog Maya. How three modes of material natures are being conducted. How Krishna is conducting this material creation. Krishna talks about it in Bhagavad Gita also. And Haladani is basically the eternal happiness that we are looking for. Living entities are looking for happiness. We want to be happy. Why we are trying to be devotee? We are missing something. We are missing something. We are looking for something. And that is happiness. We want to be eternally happy. And Krishna. So let me tell you one more thing. There is discussion between Vidura and Maitreya Muni in the sixth chapter of third canto. And Vidur is asking, my dear Bhagwan Vadena, he's referring Maitreya Muni as Bhagwan and telling, please teach me, please tell me. And he's asked multiple questions. One of the questions that he's asking, that I see these living entities are suffering. So how they would be peaceful, the happiness that I was talking about, how they would be happy, what they can do to become happy. That's very important for you and I. How does living in that will be happy? They are suffering. Then Maitreya Muni said a beautiful verse, and Prabhupada writing in the purport. So the first step is, as long as living entities are identifying with the Lord's Bhaya Shakti, there is no way that they will be peaceful. They'll be very, very distracted. And they'll be so much so distracted that they would even forget themselves, forget Krishna, everything else, completely distracted. Because Bhaya Shakti is Krishna's illusory energy. So first point he says, no, please remember that. That's how you know if you are too much distracted, that we are too much associating with the Bhaya Shakti of Krishna's. This is, they will be distracted. They will be completely distracted. They will forget themselves. They will forget everything. Why? Because they have taken shelter of Krishna's Bhaya Shakti. But then he says that if that living entity is lucky, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij, then they will come in association of sadhu, and they will hear name, form, quality, Nam, Rup, Gun. Nam, Rupa, Guna means Gun Lila. They will hear about name, form, qualities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And with that hearing, knowledge will come. He says, very important. When they are engaged in devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the knowledge will come. But that knowledge is not the Gyan Yoga, please don't. This is Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga also, like we are here studying, we are cultivating some knowledge, right? So this is not the. Sometimes I hear people saying that why Bhakti Sasi, why Bhakti Yoga? No, this is not Gyan Yoga. Prabhupada said that read my books. This is the knowledge of Bhakti Yoga. So he says that second step, that that knowledge will come. And what is the symptoms of being in the knowledge? Anybody know what is the symptom of being knowledge in the knowledge? It says third step, detachment. Artificially, one cannot be detached. The detachment comes when you have perfect knowledge. Janatu asi vairagyam jnanam cha ahitukim. What is that jnana? Ahituki jnana. Ahituke pratyata ye atma suprasiddhati. That jnana we are talking about. Ahituki jnana. The jnana, the knowledge that is about Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ahituki, unalloyed, not dependent on anything. Nothing. I'm not doing this, I'm not trying to be learned or a scholar or this or that. That is not the intent. Ahituki gyan. So janatu vasi vairagyam jnanam chahituki. Once you have that ahituki knowledge, then it gives vairagya, detachment. Same thing, Maitreya Muni. This is beauty. If you study Shastra very systematically, you would know how these things consistently comes again and again and again, different context. Same thing, Maitreya Muni is saying there, that this detachment will come when one is engaged in ahituki gyan, engage in devotional service. With devotional service, the gyan will come. And then he says, a perfected gyan must be followed by detachment. I was like overwhelmed. I made a note. I said, wow, if you don't have detachment, that means you don't have knowledge. That's what he's saying. That's what it means. That a perfected knowledge must lead to detachment. Now, detachment is also in the stage of Gyan Yoga or Stang Yoga too, but that's not detachment we're talking about. This is the detachment of the object of And our acharyas have given, Mahaprabhu has given very nicely. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, kavita vajagdis kamai, mam janmani, janmani ishwari. Those type of detachment. uh, Detachment, and that's what six Goswamis did. And when we read the six Goswami Astaka, it comes, one line comes that they were atyanta dina, extremely humble, taktva, they had left everything. So that type of detachment, living in the happiness of being Krishna conscious. And then the fourth step, he says that then living entity will be peaceful. They will come to the stage of complete peace only when they have gone through these four steps. The very first step is distracted step. This is also how you calibrate your devotion. If I'm distracted, too much distracted for the things of so many things, so many around things happening around, that is also, Krishna says that somehow or other there is some degree of shelter that we have taken from Bhaya Shakti. We need to engage in the devotional service by taking the angas of bhakti. And he says that Nam Rup Gun 3 goes to 9, goes to 64. We'll talk about it. That's how it is. Nam Rup Gun, these are the three, you know, ways to engage in devotional service. And you can expand that to 9 to 64 like that. So once we are engaged in devotional service, then that brings the knowledge. Knowledge comes. And that knowledge leads to detachment, where we know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Anukulasya sankalpya, partikulasya vivarjana. That is the definition of bhakti. Whatever is favorable for Krishna, I'll do it. And whatever is not favorable, I'll not do it. Okay. So anukul, pratikul is being decided from bhakti, coming from the stage of bhakti. And then finally, one becomes peaceful. Peaceful becomes because he is now receiving the Hladani Sakti. So I told you this 4 point to make this point clear that Satchit Anand, Krishna says in 18th chapter, Brahmut Prasanatmana Sochati na Kanchati. Now, why you have spoken everything, my dear Lord? And now you are saying that in the very last part of your discussion, that Mad Bhakti Lavte Param, my bhakti begins from here. So what we have been doing so far? Am I not started my devotional service? We'll talk about it. We are saying that Mad Bhakti Lavte Param, my devotional service starts when somebody becomes Brahm Bhut Prasanatma, not not too much distracted, not too much attached. Already Jivan Mukta Krishna is second chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about coming to that stage. That one is Jivan Mukta. So Bhagwan realization is not a very simple realization. We are practicing to come to that stage where we know who is Bhagwan. So if we are not there, not to be discouraged, not to be discouraged. We should know that subtlest of the subtle understanding is understanding of one. We don't even realize that we are the Atma. Forget about coming this as a Bhagwan and Brahman and Paramatma. So these are not simple realization that they come right away. Brahmanwadi now. That's why Prabhupada and Acharya have said that the one who knows the essence of Veda, Vadanti, Tattva Vidas, Tattvam is Jnanam Advayam. Bhagwan. So the knower of the Vedas, you know, the one who knows the Veda, they are Vadanti, they are saying that absolute understanding has these three features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So one should not think that Brahman is very simple. And I started associating with some of the Brahmanwadi, and I have become the Brahmanwadi. No, it's still subtler, subtler, and subtler. So this slide that we are seeing here is giving us a very good graphic of the consciousness. Okay, and our endeavor, Brahma, the Gauriya Sampradaya, Acharyas, they have taught us that we should come to the stage of Bhagwan realization, which means we should have full understanding of Krishna's Shat, Chit, and Anand feature. And that is what, in multiple contexts, in multiple books, through multiple stories and narrations, our acharyas are teaching. So I would like to give a pause and see if whatever I told is clear to all of you, or if there is any follow up before I switch the topic.
Dandavats Prabhu, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dandavata Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So nicely explained um, about the realization of God and consequent detachment. Prabhu, I just wanted to ask, more about detachment. When we say detachment, we mean to, talk about, you know, explain about detachment to material pleasures, right? It's not like detachment to, our relationships, right? Family and our, relationships, because I feel like it is our duty to, by Krishna, to, have maintain or, nourish good loving relationships with mainly our family and then extended devotees and society. So, can you please clarify, Prabhu?
Yeah. So rag and vairag, attachment and detachment. According to teaching of Brahma, the Gauriya Sampradaya, is or for devotee. So there are three other categories, and the first one is Vishaya Shakti people, and their rag and vairag, attachment and detachment, is Sukha Pravriti, Dukha Nivriti. They will be attached to those things which are going to give them the happiness, and they'll be detached to those things which are going to give them distress. So that is one category. Then there are people who are very religious, so-called ritualistic religious people. And their rag and vairagya is going to be dharma anukulasya, adharma pratikulasya. Whatever is dharma saying, whatever is righteousness, they will do. Whatever is not right, they will not do. Like, for example, they would not eat meat. Prabhupada said that there are many vegetarian animals. Are they Krishna conscious? Right? So being ritualistic or dharmic does not necessarily mean that they are bhakti yogi. So they have detachment for things which are adharmic, unrighteous, and they have attachment for the things which are righteous, which are dharma. But for bhakti yogi, now your question was more related to bhakti yogi, people who are on the path of bhakti. Their rag and vairag is anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya vivarjanam. anything that is favorable for your Krishna consciousness, that is your raga. And anything that is not favorable for your Krishna consciousness, that is vairagya. So there are 4 stages. The first stage is Visayasakt. Second stage is dovetailing stage. Third stage is Yukta Vairagya. And fourth stage is Raganuga Bhakti. So Vishaya Sangra stage where sense gratifications are prominent, the attachment and detachment is going to be based upon that. But we fall in these 3 categories: dovetailing, Yukta Vairagya, or Raga Bhakti. So in dovetailing stage, what happens is that we have things that has utility for Krishna, but also has utility for us. For example, we live in a house, we have a job, we have a car, we have a dirty room. So these things have utility for bhakti and also utility for ourselves too, because we cannot live on the street, right? So this is a dovetailing stage, and in that stage, the raga that you have or vairagya that you have is justified. But also you have to know that this is dovetailing stage where we are trying to dovetail things which are favorable to Krishna consciousness. Okay, so most of the follower, as I understand, are in this stage, dovetailing stage, where we are we are engaged in the process of bhakti. At the same time, we have some personal liking and disliking. Okay, but Shastra does not say criticize that. Shastra accept that. He says that is fine. Like Grihastha is very much example of a dovetailing. Unless and until they are very advanced Grihastha, things that we have in our life has some personal utility and some utility for Krishna consciousness. The money that we make, we have some bank account that gives us some support, but also on the weekend we are inviting people to come at our house, the devotee having Harinam Sankirtan, prasadam distribution. These are good, right? So dovetailing stage is samanjasya. You are trying to adjust between your favorable and unfavorable. And then higher than that is Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means to possess, and Vairagya means detachment. So you possess, you still have some possession, but those possessions are only for service of Krishna. So Yukta Vairagya stage is very high stage. Those possessions are only to please Krishna. There is nothing there. So now my liking and my disliking has removed. In Samanjasya, the mature stage of Samanjasya turns into Yukta Vairagya, where my personal liking is gone. Now I'm very much possessing those things which are for Krishna's service. That Yukta Vairagya. And then the final stage is Raga stage, where your love for Krishna has become spontaneous. Now you don't have any other desire, no other desire than Krishna's desire. Sixth Goswami is a perfect example. So there is detachment in Samanjasya, dovetailing. There is detachment in Yukta Vairagya, and then there is detachment in Raga Bhakti. All of these 3 have detachment, but there are distinctions in those detachment, and those detachments are okay, or attachments are okay. Shastra accept that because we are on the path of elevation. So right now we are Grihastha. Once we become Banprastha, and then Sannyas is very much Yukta Vairagya stage. So like that. But did it help you understand the concept? Instead of saying things, I just wanted to give you the ladder that this detachment also have a categories. And slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, as you advance in Krishna consciousness, once we come to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, you'll be attached to only those things which are for the happiness of Krishna. But if there is some other stage, and some degree of attachment, it's acceptable. Now, the family and relationship and all of that will come into this second stage, which is samanjasya stage, dovetailing stage. We are trying to dovetail, and dovetail still has some our own of our personal desire, but as it will purify, it will become Yukta Vairagya, but not to worry, not to be discouraged. This is how the process is. That's how the scripture is coming from Madhurya Kadam. Sajavati Thakur gives this definition. It's not coming from me. Very technically, he says that how these things progress. So did it help Mataji or no? Please tell me. Or if you have something follow up, please ask.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, it is good explanation, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
And
Dandavat Pranam. I have a follow-up, not probably not a question, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify if I'm understanding correctly or not. So you gave the ladder, dovetailing, Yukta Vairagya and Raga. So dovetailing stage, is it equal to like Sakam Bhakti stage, like, and the Yukta Vairagya stage is it equal to Nishkam Bhakti stage? I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly or not. Do you have anything regarding this? And after that, I will go to the next part.
yeah. So no, it's I mean to answer that part, the purpose, the Niskam Karma Yoga, once we are engaged in devotional service, dovetailing, there is nothing for Sakam. Sakam means some fruitive active, desire, some substantial desire. Niskam Yoga has two types. Niskam Yoga type 1, Niskam Yoga type 2. So both Niskam Yoga is for purification. So Niskam Karma Yoga still has the action that we do are the actions of Varna and Ashram. This is hope, I have to say this because this is how you have to understand also technically. So Niskam Karma Yoga is mostly for purification, purification towards Krishna consciousness. Okay. Niskam Karma Yoga is not a karma. A karma means not doing those things which are going to give you the reaction. But now, as a Niskam Karma Yogi, we are engaged in so many things, but we are engaged in service of Krishna. So this is basically Niskam Karma Yoga. Dovetailing stage is the stage where we are in the very beginning stage of Niskam Karma Yoga. We are not very clear with everything, but but Krishna is in the center. And at our house, Krishna is in the center. So we say it's not Sakam. Anything that we do towards Krishna, Trayagunna Visaya Veda, Nesargunna Bhavarjuna, anything that we do, and that part we'll talk about. So in our day-to-day life, there is some part that is pure devotion, and there is some part that is not pure devotion. So you all are devotee. Okay, maybe we are not the Sakam Karma Yogi or anything like that. We are not even Niskam Karma Yogi type 1. We are on the higher stage, as Shastra says, because Krishna is in the center. So as long Krishna is in the center, it's bhakti. It's not Sakam, it's not Niskam. But certain things might be Niskam. So we'll have to zoom in and put things in different categories to analyze it. But dovetailing stage or Yukt Bharagya stage, in all of these stages, 3 stages, bhakti begins. There is some part that is bhakti, or maybe major part is bhakti. There is some contamination here and there, or maybe very little contamination. So according to my understanding, that it's not also Niskam karma, because Niskam karma leads to Gyan Yoga. Gyan Yoga leads to Ashtanga Yoga. But bhakti that you are doing, that does not have any prerequisite. It's not that the Niskam karma I have perfected, so I am doing bhakti. No, some of the work that we do in devotion might be Niskam karma, but we are not still doing Niskam karma. We are doing bhakti, and these are the things we'll talk more when we get into foundational definition of devotion What
Yes.
Acharyas have said, we'll talk about it.
Mm.
But we all are around devotion. Most of the activity that you are doing, Mataji, is devotion. Like being on this class,
Yes.
it's pure, it's devotion. It's bhakti. Krishna,
Yeah.
Bhagavad Goswami said that this is a bhakti. So it's like that.
Yes. So at the like initial stage, probably the the intensity of detachment is not that high, but still it can be considered as
Oh
bhakti. Yeah.
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 Oh
And
yeah. We will see that. We'll see that. Yes, you're right. So I might have a weak intensity, but am I doing bhakti or not? Yeah. Some part, that I do is bhakti. The whole day, crying for Krishna, my dear Lord, save me. Is it मैं निष्काम कर्मी होगा? इसका मतलब निष्काम कर्मी होगा? No, no, it's bhakti, And yes, so there might be some weakness, okay?
Mhm.
But Acharya says that as long as you have value system, the word uses, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, as long as the value systems are aligned with Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, you are doing pure devotion. Although your pravriti, your desire might not be purified. So sometimes if I end up doing wrong thing, am I being happy for that wrong thing or am I being sorrow for my wrong thing? For wrongdoing, most of the time devotees say, oh, I made a mistake, please forgive me. That is aligned with the Guru Shastra and Sadhu. So Krishna's, Acharya says that as long as you are being contemplating, if you are contemplating for your wrongdoing and you are trying to improve to do right thing, it's pure devotion. We'll talk about it. So value system, there is value system that is aligned with Guru Shastra and Sadhu. And then there is Swabhava. Swabhava and value system. Swabhava is outcome of the modes of material nature. So we have been in this material world, birth after birth, and that has given us the Swabhava. So we have a Swabhava. But Guru Shastra and Sadhu is saying that these are the values. Okay. So Swabhava might not be fully aligned with the value system. But as long as we are endeavoring to align with the value system, Acharya says it's pure devotion. So you'll be surprised to know that you are doing pure devotion. Okay.
no, it's a hope. I mean,
We'll
that
talk
we
about,
have.
we'll
Yeah.
that's the thing I'm gonna talk. We'll talk what is the mixed devotion, and I'll ask you questions that, what do you think? And many of you will say that, oh, my devotion is not yet perfected. Then we'll give you the lens coming from the Acharya, how to see that. And you'll find out that we all are perfectly engaged in the process of bhakti. So yes, it's like that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Probably I'll save the next question for later sessions because you said that you will touch on all the other parts of
No, you
bhakti.
can ask. If there is no questions, you can ask, because the more we hear the concept again and again, it will reinforce in our understanding and it will help.
Okay, so I don't know, like probably by reading Nectar of Devotion and little bit about Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, my understanding about Raga is that Raga Bhakti can be that Raga Bhakti, the English translation is spontaneous
Yeah.
devotion. This can be only present in the Nitya Suris or the eternally liberated devotees, probably the Shara Goswamis. They are eternally liberated, and we the Baddha Jivas who are Nitya Baddha, according to Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So we are already eternally bound over here in the material world. We can do Raga Anuga Bhakti. We can, like, Anuga means following the footsteps of the Raga. That means who poses that Raga Bhakti. That means the Nitya Suris, that is probably the Shara Goswamis and all the Manjaris, if somebody wants to do in Vatsalya Bhakt, in Mother Yashoda, they are like Raga Bhaktas. So we can follow this. So when we say that we are going from dovetailing to Yukta Vairagya to Raga, so are we talking about the Raga Nuga Bhakti or the Raga Bhakti? Because technically the Raga Bhakti is only present in the eternally liberated devotees, not in the eternally conditioned or the Vaddha Jivas. if you can shed light on it.
Yeah, so I see what you were really asking, but I was referring to Raga Nuga Bhakti that is part of Sadhana Bhakti. So
Yeah.
living entity can come to pure devotion through Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti has two steps, Vaidhi Bhakti and Raga Nuga Bhakti. And then you have Bhava and Prema. So sadhana can lead one to Prema Bhakta through Raganuga Bhaktas. So it's all under sadhana bhakti. Bhakti Samrita Sindhu is given to sadhaka. And Mahaprabhu said, Rupa Goswami, that he ordered that please write the description of bhakti based upon the teaching that I have given. So there are two types of jiva, nitya badha, nitya mukta, right?
Yes.
So nitya badha jiva through sadhana bhakti can come to the stage of pure devotion if they are following the path of bhakti. So baddha jiva, we are baddha jiva, and we can, if we follow the teaching, then we can come to the stage of pure devotion. And raga anuga, so the spontaneous raga bhakti that I said is not the melu raga, that is they are always in love with Krishna. It's basically their stage. And six Goswami were raga bhaktas, but also the term that I use is for sadhaka, raganuga stage. Did you follow, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, say, yeah, when we use the
It's
term
not this.
Raganuga Bhakti, so that actually makes all the difference.
So
So,
right.
yeah.
So what is the source of raganuga bhakti? What is the source according to Vishwanath, or according to Bhakti Samrita Sindhu? Raga upjayate.
Hmm.
The technical definition is that the raganuga bhakti comes from the devotee who have raganuga bhakta, who are
I mean,
raganuga
who is
bhaktas.
practicing or have
Yeah.
realized Raganuga Bhakti.
Yeah, yeah. Source of, so we'll talk about that. But the term, just to make this point clear, the term that raga that I use was a stage of raganuga bhakti.
Yes, that
So
makes sense, Prabhuji.
so Badhi bhakti, and then Badhi bhakti, raganuga bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti, right? These are how you
Yeah.
see. So Badhi bhakti, bhava bhakti, and uh, prema bhakti. That's how you say. Sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti has this Badhi and Raganuga. So this Raganuga term that I use, that you will come to the stage of Raga, that is basically within the Badhi Bhakti, within the Sadhana Bhakti. Badhi Bhakti will lead. So we are leading towards that stage, which is for Vada Jiva. But again, Nitya Mukta Jiva, they are eternally associates of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your clarification, Prabhuji.
Thank you for asking.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Dandot, Hare.
Prabhuji, I have a small question, and please feel free to ignore if it doesn't make sense. But I just wanted to understand. You mentioned about Swabhava. So what I understand from Swabhava is it's the innate nature of a person, which is governed by the three modes of material nature. But is it possible to change that Swabhava through the
Yeah,
process of bhakti?
that's what you all are trying to do, Prabhuji.
Okay.
That's that, and the bhakti will change its swabhav. That's what we all are. The process of bhakti, sadhana. What is sadhana? Practice, right?
Right, Prabhuji.
And the practice is basically to transition from swabhava to the value system, which are aligned
Mhm.
with the Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. So yes, Prabhuji,
Right.
swabhav will change, and all of us are changing. Are we changing or not? Our swabhav have changed. I
Yes.
remember at some point, we were very angry. We have some control over the anger. A lot of things to be done. But now we mostly do things which are related to Krishna consciousness. we came here searching the material happiness. Now we are looking for a spiritual happiness. It change, transformation, huge transformation. So yes, Swabhav changes. And Swabhav changes through sadhana bhakti. That's the definition of, that's the very simplistic understanding of sadhana bhakti also. That through sadhana, your Swabhav is going to align with Guru Shastra, Sadhu Vakya, Tine Takariya Yakya. You know, once we are fully aligned with the teaching, Ekya means aligned, fully aligned with the teaching of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, then our Swabhava will be completely in the pure stage. And that's the, in fact, Swabhava is basically contamination. That's what you have to see. You know, the Swabhava that we have, it's outcome of the moods of material nature. Sometimes it has more of the ignorance and passion, less of the goodness. Sometimes it has more of the goodness, less of the passion. And then in sadhana bhakti, there is Shraddha, then sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, and artha nivriti. Okay, so Shraddha is the starting point. So you have a faith, some degree of faith, not 100% pure faith. That Shraddha leads to sadhu sangha, Sunday feast, associating. Maharaj is coming, not sadhu sangha. So Shraddha, sadhu sangha, and then bhajan kriya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Kriya word is here is service. Kriya also means action, service. Bhajan kriya, and then trying to come out of the anartha nivriti. Most of the time, most part of our life is very much gone with these four stages, coming out of these four stages. Okay. Once we come out of these four stages, right, there is nishtha. Okay. And nishtha is basically where you are now entering into Suddha Sattva. You have come to the platform of being very stable. Okay. So at least in our lifetime, this lifetime, at least if you cannot come to the bhava and prema or raga stage, at least try to come to the stage of nishtha. Be very firm and stable in Krishna consciousness. This is not going to come so easily, because in this Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, sinusoidal, sometimes too devotional, sometimes suddenly fall down, sometimes too devotional. This is the quality of the sadhaka. Go up, down, go up. And if this is happening, then you should know that we are still struggling with these four steps. We have some Shraddha, we are taking shelter of Sadhu Sangha, we are doing some Bhajan Kriya, and we are still doing Anarthas. And this Prabhu is not good, that is not good, I want to be this, I want to be that, This is all distraction, the very first stage that Maitreya Muni is saying. It's all distraction, but with some purity. So Swabhava Prabhu will transform. And once you come to the stage of Nishtha, then all the waves, you are at the beach, you see waves coming. Now that Nishtha says, Prabhu, waves have subsided. Now you are very firm, remembering Krishna. Those emotions, material emotions that you had as a beginner has gone. So sadhana bhakti Prabhu will transform your Swabhava, our Swabhava, and align with the teaching of Guru Shastra and Sadhu.
Yes.
Good. That's very good. That's very good that you asked. This is not I know meaningless questions, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Everything is very meaningful. What you ask is really powerful. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So is there anything else? So next Sunday, in fact, we'll talk about as it is, because our see Bhagavad Gita as it is. So any course that or any teaching that I do, first part of that discussion, I try to explain what is this as it is, why Prabhupada had to write this as it is, and how this as it is defined by our acharyas, especially Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This word was given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaya Dharma. So we'll talk about that. Please keep on coming. Please keep on coming. This will give me opportunity for learning as well. At the same time, I'll be happy to share whatever understanding I have so that whatever degree it will help you too. Thank you so much. Mataji, Priya Mataji, can we chant the Vaishnava pranams?
Oh, sure, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa shindu bhaivacha patitanang pavanebhya vaishnavebhya namo namah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandot pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
धन्यवाद प्रभु.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.